What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Box Out Boys podcast. We are the NBA podcast of the people, your home for lukewarm takes and substandard analysis. I'm Titus Two Shots Dominguez, and with me, as always, is Chris, the Stats Man Gorman. Hit him with the stats, Chris. You got a no stat tonight?
You want stats?
You want stats?
Yeah,
I got stats for you. No, that's right. And also getting those sweet minutes. It's Joey McCrosky. Get that, Joe.
Hey.
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 I like
Hey,
the
guys.
Benny the Bull shirt. It's nice.
Yeah, dude. This thing is sick.
It
It's
is
the
very
best.
sick.
It's the best sweatshirt ever. Absolutely fantastic. It's like a raised, like soft
Ooh, look at
thing
him.
too. So
Yeah.
it's glorious. Best.
Well, he's looking sharp tonight. If you're watching on YouTube, please do that. Chris just left.
Chris didn't want to look at it anymore. You
Chris,
guys,
is
you guys
you
can't see
freezing
some
or am I
background,
freezing?
Chris. No, I can
Folks,
see
we're having
Chris.
some technical difficulties
No.
here.
Can you hear me, Titus?
I can hear you now. Was it
Okay.
me? All right.
No, Chris is in the middle of something here. He's coming back.
He's putting on something. All right.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there it is.
Put on the sweatshirt. And
What
he
is that,
left
a
himself
starter?
on mute.
You got to unmute yourself, buddy.
All right, I got my ant sweater, the little ant logo
Is
somewhere
that
around here.
Ant-Man?
Ant-Man.
Ant
His
eater
ant. He's wearing his ant sweater.
from Adidas. They call sweater is such a dumb thing to say, but it's a sweater.
Oh.
It's comfy.
Wow.
All right. I
You signed with
feel like I should
Adidas?
have brought
That's
us
not a
some
good sign,
sweater.
is it?
Oh, don't do that, man. Come on.
Last pod, you ripped my heart out, so it's my turn to
True.
start throwing shade.
Ripping hearts out. All right, the betrayals have begun. It's not even the second episode of the season. Well, we are back. We got a fun episode for you tonight. Chris is going to give us his updated All You Can Have Him team. And then we're going to go around the horn with the boys. And we're going to get a little hometown preview for our Box Out Boys hometown teams, the Chicago Bulls and the Minnesota Timberwolves. So, Chris, without any further ado, man, let's get into it.
Thank you. This is easily my favorite list.
All right,
that I do every year. I do want to just real quick talk about what I did last time we ran this 2 years ago. We had Fox, Levine, Porter, Siakam, Capella.
Wow.
Of those guys, maybe Porter and Fox are okay. But even would you still have them?
Siakam is probably all right.
Siakam, I still don't. I still wouldn't want to pay him for Indiana,
but Porter would probably be the one I would leave on there for sure.
Back in, the Fox one, I was like,
Fox one might have been but
nobody expects anything from Sacramento though, still, right? So
true. Right. True.
But anyways, I've gotten better. I've gotten better players this year.
Okay.
Starting lineup is starting point guard Damian Lillard.
All right,
he's washed.
Like
I don't know, get him out of here. I think it's over for him.
Easy.
It's easy. It's true.
It's kind of like my haters guide more because I am. Well,
he's going to retire this year.
But is Derrick Rose on the team? I forgot to check that before.
Yeah.
Is he still in Memphis? Or,
I think so.
No, I think he's off Memphis, right?
We'll have to look that up. But
we looked that up.
Starting two guard. This one's a little controversial, I feel like, but Devin Booker.
Wow. Okay. I like this. So this is what I like.
Like, I think after watching over the summer in the Olympics, he was like one of the highlights of the show. He was fantastic. But you can't forget he is a rich man Zach LaVine, right? Like he's really good to a point. He's very the defense on this man is nowhere to be found.
This man.
And I'm off on Devin Booker until further notice. I will not forget that they got swept in the first round of the playoffs just because he had a good Olympic run. Paul George,
can
number
you
3.
pause there? I think.
Oh, sorry. Let's talk about Devin Booker.
Yeah, Titus.
Well, no, this is the perfect type of you can have him pick, because like where Dame is, I feel like is like a little bit washed. I think most people can agree. Kind of like when Harden got there, this is the one you're like a year or two ahead of this. In like 2 years, people are gonna be going, yeah, Booker, that's a terrible contract, can't win with him. But right now, people are talking themselves into him. They're going to this year like, oh man, if Booker can do what he did in the Olympics, the Suns can be good.
Yeah,
this is exactly what the you can have him player is supposed to be. I love it, Joey.
I second that. I think he looked really good. Like people fell in love with him and were enamored with him when he was the guy on the team. and it was easy for him to like be the star of the show every game. And your comparison to saying he's a rich man, Zach LaVine, like that's the reason people started to fall in love with Zach LaVine. Was like, hey, he's the only guy on the team. He can do really cool things. Then when they were at Zach, people were around him, but you can't win.
You can do everything but win.
Yeah.
It matters. No, I love it. Perfect pick.
I like it. Appreciate that. Paul George.
I
kind of like this one too for the same reason you guys were saying. How, I mean, I feel like I'm a little early on this too. I don't like Philly this year at all. Nothing to do with the fact that they decided to go a different direction in their business department a few years ago. But the team here, Paul George has not won since Indiana. He didn't do much in OKC. LA was a bust, right? And now he's 34. We know what it's like to be 34, guys, right? Like, and to try to take a team like this with Maxey and Embiid, I don't buy it. I'm out on Philly, and I'm out on Paul George. You can have him.
Yeah, I like this one too.
I don't know. I feel like the player is. I don't know how do I say this. Yes, I kind of get what you're saying about Paul George, but in terms of what they got rid of and replaced it with, I feel like it's a definite upgrade, right? Because they replaced your all-time favorite, all you can have them player.
Oh, Tobias
Harris.
Yeah, Tobias, even better you can have him player.
But I think this is an upgrade over Tobias Harris because I think Paul George is actually, he's actually good for what the Sixers need. I don't know if he's good, but I think he's like a good fit. Like,
but see, I think this falls back into that category again of, yeah, he's good. You can have him. Like Philly can have him. You know what I mean? Like I don't think anybody's worried about Philly. Well,
yeah, but like, so I guess the reason nobody's worried about Philly though isn't because of
Paul George.
It's because of nobody knows if Embiid is going to be able to play enough to stay healthy.
And I think that could be part of it too, where it's like, yeah, if Embiid's healthy, Paul George is going to look good. But if he's not there, Paul George ain't doing nothing for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If Embiid's healthy, Paul George is the perfect complement with Maxey and him. It's like a guy that can get you a jumper in clutch time if you need it.
Yeah.
If Embiid's not healthy, then yes, you can have him because you spent all this money on him. They have like almost 500 and something million wrapped up in those three guys.
That's what I'm saying.
Like 5 years.
Yeah, win.
And like if Embiid's hurt, you would hope that Paul George could carry the team for like 10 games to get like 6-4 or something. But I just didn't see it. I think they'd go 2-8, wouldn't it? You know, like,
oh wow. But Max is still there.
Are there
George? Yeah.
Are there any players that can carry a team if their number one goes down for 10 games?
Well, the Celtics. Is that fair?
Yeah.
They have like 4 guys.
Good one.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Timberwolves. I feel like they could actually, like, if Ant went down.
Yeah, I think they do.
I trust Towns enough
for 10 games.
There for 10. Rob's there. We'll get to the Timberwolves.
So we've got 2.
I mean, I want to go through every team, but
no, I'm just trying to think. Like
the Thunder.
No, I feel like
actually goes down. I think
the Thunder are struggling.
Yeah.
What about Phoenix?
Well, who's their number one?
That's what I was gonna say. Who's like if Booker goes down?
No,
right,
that's true. Hang. All right, so Joey, I think to your point, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
No,
I'm just defending my stance. I'm okay with Paul George there. I think it's the right play for them, but everything has to be perfect. If Embiid goes down, then yes.
I like it when you don't like it, so I kind of like that. You're like, I kind of like Paul George still. I'm like, all right.
But Tobias is off, so that's a win.
Tobias had to go. Tobias, he had to go. Him and Russell Westbrook, right? I almost brought Russell back because he's in Denver, but you gotta. All right, the power forward, Kevin Durant. Joey, I think you kind of talked me into this one when we last did this before the playoffs, and we held our guns with that Suns Wolves series, and that was probably the most right pick in Box Out Boys history for us. That we knew the Suns were garbage. And that's why we have Booker and Durant in the starting lineup with all you can have on the team. Kevin Durant, you can have him.
This is a good one. This is a spicy one because I got to disagree here. Booker, I agree with. Durant, he's getting there. But that guy, if you put him on most teams on the NBA, is an upgrade, man. Put him on the Mavs.
Ooh. Well, I'm excited for Clay on the Mavs. I know, Joey, you're in front of that one, but
this one, I feel like you're a year too early on this.
Fair. Okay.
But I like this. Joey, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I think I'm still with Chris. I think it works. It's the fit.
I like this one.
It doesn't fit with this team. Like this team's build, and everybody said it from the time that this trade happened, and then when they went for Beal, like it doesn't make sense. It's like it's all or nothing, and there's no plan B. There's no like plan 1A or 1B.
Yeah.
It's like it's literally all of you have to be perfect at every single time. And like your counter to Durant on another team maybe sways it a bit, but like Durant's not reliable enough anymore.
But put him on Philly instead of Paul George.
I don't
think it makes much of a difference.
Celtics. Really?
I don't think it makes much of a difference.
I think that becomes the scariest team. I don't know. I think he's
still high on Durant. Okay.
Wait, you know what? I think he's starting to. I don't think he needs to be the number one guy though. I think that's kind of the problem in Phoenix right now. Is I think Booker is clearly like you can have him. He's not really a number one, like you said. Rich man's Zach LaVine. That's why they're struggling. But if he was a clear number two, on a team, Durant, yeah.
He's been a number two his whole career, dude. He was drafted second overall.
He was a number two in Golden State, even though he pretended to be a number one. That's when he was his best. I think if you put him somewhere next to somebody who is definitely the number one, he becomes a super scary, reliable. And maybe that's why you can have him because he's a number one level. But
he's really the man with the most talent I think I've ever seen.
He's the richest man's Zach LaVine.
Jeez.
Let's not put Zach LaVine.
He's the richest. Now we're just saying stuff.
You crossed the line now, okay?
Whoa, that's too much.
Whoa, okay. Booker's okay. Yeah.
All right, I like that one. It was good.
Center, Domantas Sabonis. I know you guys aren't big on him. I kind of hate that I put this one here.
That's fine.
We can move on.
Maybe it's not spicy enough.
My bench, I have my five guys. I'll just run through these.
Rip them. Yep.
Trae Young, Bradley Beal, DeMar DeRozan, Jonathan Kuminga, and then Joel Embiid. I kind of snuck in at the end here.
Wow.
I don't know. Only because like his the best.
Yeah, this is the one that's
the availability thing is really bothering me with Joel Embiid. It's also like why I have LaMelo Ball as my outside looking in guy. He's played 58 games the last 2 seasons. LaMelo Ball.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Him and Embiid were like you should be on this list if you can't. You got to show up this year or get out. Like play some games, guys. Like show up when it matters.
I like the Embiid pick because I think it's like you're going to mortgage your entire team's future for this dude. And the 76ers just did exactly that.
Yeah.
And he's proven them nothing.
He's the process, right? And the process
I wish he was healthier because I think if he was healthier, this would be it would be a better take because I actually still would think he's a you can have him guy because he kind of disappears in the playoffs. But I think his health is still so bad where you can kind of go, it's a health thing. It's a health more than anything. And I just kind of want to see him be healthy and still fail and then still be able to be like, yeah, see, I told you.
So you can kill the narrative once and for all.
Once for all. Like, no, this guy's just a bum. Yeah.
Because the excuse in the playoffs is always that, he's playing injured and he's just hobbled along, but he's doing it to try and get through. So,
all right. I got one last, like a potentially spicy one that I might be years away from. But power forward. What do you think about Tatum?
Is it you can have him?
You can have him.
Whoa. No,
Joey. I feel like Joey might think that.
No way.
What's your reason? Is it the money for the production?
He's not a top 5 player in the league. He's not, right? He's a really good player. I mean, I'm a Tatum fan, but I'm like I always try to find is who's the highest level guy I could find and go, yeah, but I'd rather have somebody else.
Tatum. That's why Embiid's my highest one. I couldn't go. I mean, I have Tatum ranked higher than Embiid. That's tough.
Wow. Okay. See, I think there's going to be a case. And I think if let's say he has another rough playoff run or something where they win the finals again, but he doesn't look good again, and people can start going, man, these guys are.
They're saying if he's a 2-time champion.
And he doesn't, but he doesn't look good again. Let's just say he doesn't look good.
Might win the championships, but he doesn't look like the guy.
He doesn't look like the guy. Are you going? Yeah, that's great. But like you put Durant on that team, they would be cleared.
Oh man,
LeBron could win those titles at 40 if he was playing.
That's something that keep it. That's such a crazy take.
All right. It's
Can
too
I
crazy.
throw Jamal Murray at you guys and just?
Oh no, you know what? Jamal Murray.
That's a go. Yeah,
I think he should be over Dame. Yeah,
that's my fault for not including Jamal Murray. I should have included him. I'll put him on the outside looking in. Yeah,
that makes me happy because I was on that train. I've been on that train for a while.
I think this last year was the one where I kind of
both of you loved Jamal Murray.
I love Jamal.
Me? No, I never.
No, I love Jamal.
really?
I was a big
Titus
Jamal
then,
guy.
yeah.
Titus was a big Jamal guy.
This last season, I was like, man, I don't know.
And I thought you were right though, because you said the 2 years before the Nuggets won, you're like, dude, if they just had Jamal, they had Jamal. And then the year they won, it was like he played, and he was good, and he was there, and you were like, see, I told you. And then last year it was.
And he was there last year. He just wasn't.
He was there.
There's Joey. I don't know if you had a name, but I have one more name that I kind of want to float out there.
Do it.
Like, because you brought up Tatum, Titus. I was thinking about what do you guys expect of like Jalen Brunson? Like, is he actually going to carry this team over the top? He's in it. It's like Caleb Williams for Chicago. Everything's built around you to succeed, and you're still kind of fumbling the bag. And
this would be
Jalen Brunson's, right.
The narrative is too strong this year where you couldn't. I don't think you could even approach this as like you can have him. This is spicier than Tatum, but I'm with you. I'm with you here.
I don't know what. Yeah,
I could probably pull out 4 or 5 point guards for sure. I'd rather have than him.
Right.
I don't know. I'm kind of with it. Joey.
I'm curious to see what it looks like this year, because last year, like, the team wasn't really that. It was kind of built around it, but like there weren't like actual stars on that team. I guess there aren't really now. I mean, Bridges,
but
yeah,
Bridges, but like, so like I feel like he's gonna get the pass because like he's gonna keep putting the stats up because he's gonna be the dude. But yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like I think the clear defined you can have them guys are guys that have a team that is built to kind of win, like a Booker or Embiid or Tatum. It's like, hey, these guys have everything around them, but are they still the ones that get it done? I just don't know if Brunson.
I mean, Brunson's
he also
only
took
one.
a pay cut. He also took a pay, like he didn't hurt his team into oblivion to like become the highest paid guy.
I kind of feel bad for saying this one now.
I feel like that.
I like Brunson a lot too.
I feel like that should be taken into account for a guy, because usually it's like you get paid a lot of money, but you don't actually provide anything.
But as a
good one.
Short point guard myself, I notoriously hate short point guards because you can't win with one.
No,
you can't win.
I'm just curious what the longevity of him is. I hope it's like we watch him for another 10 years, but like we watched Isaiah Thomas flame out after his crazy streak, and
Brunson's better than Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, we're not. You're talking about like
not the OG.
Isaiah Thomas. Yeah, I was like Isaiah Thomas,
not the real one.
No, but he's not like that small. But I just there's always to me an upper limit with these guys where you get a guy that's like 6 foot and he's the main focus of your offense.
Yeah,
you know, Iverson's maybe the poster boy for as far as you can get.
They're a team. We're keeping an eye on the Knicks, so we'll see.
Jamal Murray should be ahead of him though, and that you can have him.
Yeah.
All right, let's go around the horn here. Joey, we'll start with you, so we can maybe end on a positive note.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Joey, give us your. Let's just. We're gonna do a little Bulls preview here. Overall, maybe just a preview on some offseason moves you liked, offseason moves you don't understand, and then just generally where you feel like they're at, and maybe what you want out of this season. As a Bulls fan.
Yeah. Well, it looks like a bull vomited on me right now and behind me and all over my entire living space. But that's cool.
He's red.
I bleed red. I see red. I bleed bulls. Is that the?
Yeah,
that's how it goes. I don't even know my own thing.
Go.
All right. So the Bulls this offseason sent out DeMar for nothing. He was a free agent. So I guess they didn't send him out. They let him leave for nothing.
Smart move, but yes.
They let Andre Drummond leave for nothing to the 76ers.
Yeah.
Ooh, I forgot. Yeah.
Good pickup. For them.
It's good pickup for them. Actually, it's good pickup. And then they traded Alex Caruso to Oklahoma City.
That one hurts.
With the most draft picks of any team, straight up for Josh Giddey. So as Giddey was in, they also added Chris Duarte.
He's a name, right?
He's a guy.
Oh, they
You've
got
heard of him.
Duarte. He had a moment in
He had a
Indiana.
moment. Yeah,
They've
he had
got
a moment.
Duarte. Yep. They added Kenny Lofton Jr.
He's been
guy.
floating around, you know,
And they drafted
in the pool or because of his
Montas
size.
in the pool.
He's a
Floating
raft.
around.
And they drafted Matas Buzelis, the Chicago kid from Hinsdale. So they're looking at a starting five. Well, I guess I should add too. They were unsuccessful in trading Zach LaVine
And Vooch.
this offseason, and Vooch. Vooch, they didn't seem like they were aggressively shopping.
Yeah,
I didn't hear a lot of rumors.
Yeah, they knew he was going
were,
nowhere. They're like, this is,
hey, Paul George said he's one of the top bigs in the league. Okay,
maybe
he is on the offensive team.
He's on the. I mean, he's one of the bigs. He's one of the starting bigs.
He is one of the starting bigs in the NBA.
Your starting five for Chicago Bulls is likely looking at LaVine, Giddey, Kobe White, Patrick Williams, and Vooch.
Who's playing defense?
So yeah, Patrick Williams is going to be playing all the defense.
Man.
So here's my thought on the Bulls. Right. So they owe their pick next year to San Antonio. It's protected top 10. So same kind of scenario as the Mavs were in 2-3 seasons ago.
Oh, right.
But
when
they got Lively, whatever. When they got Lively, when they got fined like a shit ton of money for tanking the last like 10 games of the season, or a few games of the season to make sure that they got it. So the thing that I'm kind of looking at for the Bulls is they need to be bad. And I think they're going to be bad just naturally because of your astute identification of who is going to play defense on this team. So there's going to be a lot of points scored, I think. And the reason I think that is because Kobe showed last year he was much better playing in a aggressive, like, shooting role, right? Zach was out. He played 25 games. So Kobe had a lot of run and he had a lot of load on him. And with an actual point guard who's going to be Giddey, right? They have come out and said, like, our full anticipation is Josh Giddey is basically what Lonzo Ball was, but bigger. So they're expecting like fast pace, lots of shooting, lots of passing, screen and roll, and then finding, open shots. So I see Kobe getting up a lot of shots. I see Zach getting up a lot of shots, and I see Vooch maybe finally getting somebody who can actually do like pick and roll with him. All right, they've struggled to find an actual working relationship for Vooch to do pick and roll. All that being said, all these guys have something to prove, right? Giddey is coming out of Oklahoma City saying, "I didn't get to play. I thought I was the guy, but he got benched, right? He got no run in the playoffs. He's got something to prove." Zach is completely, wanting to prove everything. If he actually wants out of Chicago, like everybody says he does, and he's pretty much said he does, the only way for him to get out is to play and probably average 25 plus a game on, efficient shooting. Right. I mean,
okay.
He has to prove something that somebody says, I'm willing to take a risk. If there's an injury on like a 76ers, right? If Paul George goes down, do they take a risk and say Embiid's healthy, we take a run? Kobe had a great year, so he's trying to keep that going. Patrick Williams just signed a new contract. That might be the only detriment, is he's got his money now and he's proved nothing. And then Vooch, I think Vooch probably feels a little bit slandered, right? I mean, he's gotten pretty shit on for his tenure with the Bulls. He shot the ball really bad. But all that being said, like, DeMar is out, right? And that was a lot of the slowdown and a lot of the shots that these guys kind of wanted. And I feel like he was the kind of like kink in the cog for them. Like, he wasn't harmful to the team, but he was harmful to the egos. So I'm envisioning a lot of points, a lot of pace, but absolutely zero defense. And like, they're either going to get blown out in games or they're going to lose like really close games because they don't have the clutch player down the road. All that being said, I think they're bottom of the East. I'm not like hoping for anything positive here. But if like Matas Buzelis turns out to be kind of good, like maybe you're more aggressive next year with like a Zach LaVine trade, like or not aggressive, but like you're happier taking less in return kind of thing. Yeah,
because you see the future ahead.
Right, you see the future.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you here. I think this is going to be, an up and down, fast-paced team. Obviously, I'm very curious what's going to happen with, because I think they'll have a lot of ball dominant guys. Obviously, Zach, Giddy, and Kobe are all kind of ball dominant. It's going to be interesting how that works out. And mostly for me, my big thing is to get these, just to get that number 10 pick, or, be bad enough to get that pick.
Yeah.
I think it's important. This draft's good enough. And hopefully, you said, rejuvenate Levine enough to go ahead and make a trade somewhere down the road. So, Chris, any thoughts on the Bulls? On Joy, what Joy said?
Yeah, Joy, I think your optimism on them being good offensively. Everyone on that team can shoot, right?
Yeah.
Patrick Williams is a 40% career 3-point shooter. He's fantastic on the two
Low volume.
It's per game. Yeah, we listen to the same pod today, but but so I think I can see them. It'd be fun to see them score 120 points a game or 115. They'll give up 130, 140,
right.
but it could be fun to see them in the triple digits on a routine basis. We haven't had a Bulls team like that in a while. They can just run and gun like this. So maybe for that reason, I'll tune in.
I'll sure give him a look. Give Giddy a look. I'm gonna be watching for Modest. You know what I mean? Just I want to see what's going on. But
Giddy as the
Giddy
Lonzo replacement is like
interesting.
2 years too late.
Lonzo is supposedly supposed to be playing this season. Starting the season.
I don't want to hear it. Oh my gosh!
But
I mean, at least we haven't seen a video of him getting out of a chair on 1 foot yet,
True.
right? So maybe he is actually gonna come back, unlike Simmons, who I'm coming back.
I don't know, man. He had a couple turnarounds that look good.
Next week, I think we'll probably do it, or whenever soon, the over-unders. And the Bulls over-under is 27.5. It's low. I kind of like it over.
Feels juicy.
Yeah.
It does feel like it's an over, which is going to be, again, upsetting. But
yeah, I think the overall goal, though, for the season, yes, getting that pick, keeping that pick would be number one. But number two is, you should end this season with, Giddy being, I think, identified as your point guard for the next 3 to 5 years. Kobe White, you get confidence that you made the right decision in giving him the contract last year. Patrick Williams plays into the 5-year, $90 million you gave him this offseason.
Jesus.
Levine and Vooch are out at some point by the trade deadline, or
in the offseason.
Or in the offseason. It's settled that so Buzelis is in. So you're going youth movement, right? It's Giddy, Kobe, P. Will, Buzelis, Io stays. Io had a great season last year. So you've got 5 guys that you're saying, hey, we've got good shooting, we've got good pace, we've got a little bit of defense in P. Will. We need to add the players around that can actually bring this together, right? It's not Vooch, it's not Levine. They need to go out and get stuff. So it's got to be a youth movement, but I don't think they have to blow it up permanently or purposefully for it to be a youth movement and purposefully tank. I think it's just going to happen because, again, no one's playing defense.
What are the odds that Levine's still on this team next offseason, going into next season?
80%.
Oh,
man, no, it's low.
That's kind of sad. I mean,
it's what's sad is he's probably right, but it should be 20%.
I thought it'd be
next season,
that, right? Yeah, man.
I think it's 80%. He'll be on the team after the trade deadline, because I don't think that's going to happen. But they've got to move him in the offseason. There's just
did you say next season? Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
I thought you meant the
2025 season.
Oh,
this time next year.
Yeah, I think it's much lower. I think it's 20%.
Okay.
Then. Yeah, I think
the way you're saying all these young guards.
No, I think he's on the team by the end of the season. I don't think they're going to see something good enough for them by the trade deadline, because I think they're going to be stubborn with it. But I think in the offseason, it's going to have to happen eventually. Or Zach just says, I'm done. I don't think he wants to be here.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He has no interest. Him and Billy, it doesn't work. It's not right. So.
All right, Chris, give us some hope here. Your
Pups?
Hometown team, the Timber Pups, are good.
Going into this season, they are the second highest odds at 52.5 for wins, and with the Thunder at a blistering 56.5.
Jesus.
The Timberwolves, man, people would say they overachieved last year, right? The Gobert trade worked out. I know Russell won't admit it yet, and he never will, because he's a prick when it comes to that. But it worked. Tough luck. The Jazz I don't want to get into the trade. But anyways, the 3 big men of Nasri, Towns, and Gobert, this team is screaming continuity, which is what the Bulls did for years. and it's nice to finally see a team like the Timberwolves doing that, and to just carry the starting lineup again into this year. My favorite thing that they did this offseason is getting that Rob Dillingham guy.
Yeah, that was
I don't know if you know much about this guy, but his junior year in high school, he went to Donda Academy, which, if you don't know what Donda Academy is, it's the high school that Kanye West started. Yeah. Left there after a year because of Kanye West controversy.
Good choice.
And went somewhere
good head
else.
on his shoulders.
But then he played for the Overtime Elite, which is where Matas played. He played there for his senior year of high school, and then he went to Kentucky. It's kind of an uncharacteristic approach to getting to the league. But the point is, this guy has been uber talented forever, and he's going to be a fun watch, I think, for the league. And he's in the perfect situation where he doesn't have too much pressure on him. And then you also have Terrence Shannon Jr., which Chicago native. If you guys followed him at U of I, he had a Giddy type situation that did not end up. The accusations did not hold up at all. He was acquitted, or not acquitted, but he was proven innocent.
Well, that's good.
And he was seeking. He was suing the DA for malicious prosecution on their end. So some stuff going on there, which is a big reason why he fell in the draft. He's 24 years old. Fantastic,
stellar player you got there on your team. Well, you telling us more about his transgressions?
No, he's fine. He's good.
Fine,
no, he's the one suing the DA for being like, "Yo, all these guys aren't." Anyways, he's 24. My point is, like, he's old. He's an old rookie, and he should be able to come in just right away. He's perfect. He's perfect for this team, and he's going to be the best guy to watch. Those two rookies as they progress through this year. And I think the Timberwolves. I mean, I remember like last year where they got to a point where, like, well, I remember that news reporter said how, are you guys surprised you're here? Like, when they beat the Nuggets, and Towns is like, what do you mean? We were here last year. And it's like, well, they kind of did overachieve beating the Nuggets. Like, it would have been great if they beat the Mavericks, but they kind of peaked, right? Like, so the idea is now you build on that, and you go a step further. Minnesota sports history would tell you that will not happen. This is the saddest city I've ever seen, or state for sports all over. The last team to win was the Twins in like 93, I think. Ooh, so like, man. It's tough up here. So maybe the Timberwolves can finally help this state kind of realize what real winning's all about. The Vikings are 3-0, but again, the Minnesota Timberwolves, man, I think, and people are doubting them. I think, like, Barkley's off on them. Shaq has been hating on Rudy harder than usual this offseason. This guy AM Hoops, who's a YouTuber, I don't know if you guys heard of him. He does a lot of basketball content. He was saying how the Timberwolves are probably the most hated team in the league, which all the comments that said no, it's the Celtics. I don't know what you're thinking, guys. It's the Celtics, even though, because no one liked Rudy. Everyone always rags on Towns, even though he's like the nicest player in the league. And Ant had made that comment about how the only skilled player in the 90s was Jordan. So not the best comment, but he can get by on it. So I'm excited for the Timberwolves.
Yeah, so going through my research for like our picks and stuff, one of the things I was thinking about was who's that team that has like kind of been through the wars and then is like getting their piece. So over the last couple of years, this kind of seems to be the element. Like, we go with the Nuggets getting Jamal finally healthy, the Celtics finally getting like Porzingis and why am I blanking on his name? The point guard. No,
Drew
Holiday. Yeah. Drew Holiday. He kind of did it twice with them and then the Bucks. So I was trying to find that team, and I really couldn't find that team. But one of the teams that did kind of in that mold is Minnesota, where they kind of were there. And I think they are kind of being slept on a little bit. I think people are kind of like you said, they kind of peaked and that was it. And like, all right, well, they showed they couldn't really, beat Dallas and blah, blah, whatever. But I think if the matchups break right, and the West is going to come down to matchups. I think there's probably 4 or 5 teams that can easily win the West. It's just, all right, which team kind of gets matched up against who? And if let's say they get to the conference finals and it's Denver sitting there for them, they got to feel good. You know what I mean? So who knows what happens? I think it's interesting.
Especially with Russ instead of KCP.
Exactly. Yeah. Because, it just depends on who they get. If they go up against OKC, let's say they get OKC versus, Dallas like last year. what if OKC's just not ready? You know what I mean? And yeah, they're good and the lights are a little bit bright. And Minnesota's like, we were here last year and we had Luka dancing all over us.
Fun
And
series, dude.
yeah, we know what this is now. And I think that gets interesting too. So I think they're a sneaky pick. I think they're, a legitimate contender this year. So we'll see what happens. But Joey, any thoughts on Minnesota?
No, I think you're spot on. Like the test for them, I think like wrongfully so, was that Denver series last year, right? Like it was such a high that coming out of it, I think they just weren't ready. Like that almost felt like that was their finals, right?
Yeah,
it was such a high, right? It was an adrenaline rush, and then like they just looked flat against Dallas.
They had a day and a half before they had to play again. Okay, it was ridiculous.
I think what Joey's saying, like it just felt like they had won. Like they were like we were done, and they didn't realize there was one more hill to climb, dude.
Right, like I felt like they had won. Right, watching it as a person from here who doesn't really care. Like I watched it and I felt like they had won. Like, it was like holy shit! Like this was amazing. And like I think Titus is spot on in saying like they're gonna remember that. Like they've been there. Like you think back, like Titus, you made a perfect point, right? The Nuggets won after they had kind of had some heartbreak. Like the Celtics went there and had a pretty legitimate chance against the Warriors in 21, right? 21, 22, whatever it was. So like Minnesota's kind of there, and like they added this year, they lost Kyle Anderson. Like, does that really like scare you? Right? Like that doesn't that doesn't mean anything. Like you're kind of fine with that. And I think like the window's now, right? You've got like 1 or 2 more years of Mike Conley, probably.
Yeah.
And you're hoping that Dillingham is Mike Conley 2.0 or Mike Conley Jr. So like
Mike Conley Jr.
Right? Like junior. Yeah, they're in it, right? And I think.
And does Ant get that boost?
If the chips fall right, and like Ant seems like a dude who's ready to like take the step.
Does he get the Olympic bump?
If he can take the step. And they can kind of put it all together and the chips fall right, I'd be excited.
Yeah.
Also, one other name
weak spot for him. So
yeah, I mean they're talking about depth is the weak spot, but that's why I like the rookies. Another name I wanted to throw out there, Joe Ingles. I forgot to mention. He's on his 3rd journeyman team since Utah, and I think this is the one, man. This is the one where Joe Ingles can show up and play some good basketball.
Wait, is he in Minnesota?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That's a solid like
he wins you a game. He wins you a game.
Yeah, he wins a game.
He wins you a game. There's a Joe Ingles game in a Western Conference Finals that's like a nail biter, and it's also Ingles hits 4 threes.
He hits 4 threes in like 3 minutes, and
you're like, what is happening? And it's just like, yep, that's the guy. That's what we got him for. But I kind of like the depth thing. I don't think it's a big concern. Ultimately, maybe regular season wise, they're not where they you want them to be or whatever, but. Come playoff time, and their rotation's gonna get tight anyway, and they'll be fine. And maybe Ant looks like the dude, so we'll see.
Ant's
gonna be somebody to watch.
We're not overlooking Ant.
Did you buy your season tickets yet?
No, I looked at some plans. Honestly, last year I went to playoff games. I went to like 4 playoff games. I didn't go to
buy season tickets, and then you can go to all the games.
No, but I just used my money on games that count, right?
Wow.
I like him. He's like, I'm here for the wins, baby.
Solid NBA fan. The games that count.
The games that count. Hey, that's all that matters. Look, man, Minnesota might have a chance here with the Lynx. So
it's not even the money; it's the time.
I don't know what's ever going to feel like. So I'm just making fun of you out of jealousy.
Hey, just come up here and you can experience it.
Titus and I saw a playoff game once. It was great.
It was pretty good.
You guys were pretty high, not high, but like you guys were happy with that one.
That life.
They won that game. No, they
did.
No, the Bucks.
They won one of those games.
They won game 1. They had one game.
No, they won game 2.
They won game 2. Okay, they had one game 2.
Won game 1. They lost by like 4, and then they won game 2.
And then it was like they're coming home, and I was like,
shit. Everyone was high because they had stayed close and then won one, and it was like, this is it. They're gonna get it.
They could do it, and then
take down Giannis, and then they lost by like 30.
And then it was over. See, and that was the thing. I think I will go back to that moment. That is forever burned in my memory as a fan, because that was the moment I was like, oh, this Bulls team is no good. Because I had been talking myself into it, but that was the moment, and that's the moment the organization should have said, all right, we're out. Like, we're not doing any, like, we got to get rid of these guys.
We should clip this and send it to Jerry, because that's like, it's perfect. I paid money to come see my favorite team play a playoff game, and that moment
it was
over.
It was as soon as
it was over.
I had we watched the preseason. I remember that preseason vividly because I kept watching. I'm like, man, this team looks really good. Like, I know it's preseason. I don't want to get my hopes up, but I'm seeing what I'm seeing. Then they had the regular season where they were number one for a while. Yeah, the injuries happen. They drop off, but they go into it gets, Milwaukee. The 2 first games, I'm like, all right, they're hanging tough. And then Milwaukee took them seriously, and it was over. And that was the moment I was like, oh no.
God, it was so good too because that was the year that like the Bulls were actually like good, and that was when Grayson Allen broke Caruso's wrist on that like chase down tackle dunk
revenge.
So like it was like it was like they were like the villain, like there was an actual like rivalry, like it felt real, right? For the first time, it was like they're good and we're good, and it actually matters because for so long it was the Bulls just kicking their ass, and then they got Giannis and they kind of changed, and
it's so sad. Chicago deserves so much more than what we get.
It's all right. Chris, you're going to have to hold all our hopes this year.
I know,
that's why it felt like you guys won the title.
Minnesota was nuts. Yeah.
But this year, that's why that
was the problem. They experienced it now.
Yeah.
They
had it once. Like, ooh.
Because they know,
right?
And that's like go back to last year, like with Boston, man. I just felt like they knew where they'd been, and I remember like towards the end we were like, dude, they just look like a team that was just exhausted and they were ready to be done. That could be Minnesota this year, where they're just like, all right, come on, man, I don't care.
I think Minnesota all started with Pat Bev too, standing on those
standing on the thing. Yep,
it's kind of start for Minnesota too. Was with Pat.
That was like the first time, right? You guys felt it, and then the next season and
a playing game with the Clips.
Playing game. That's how it happens, man. So
thanks, Pat Bev. Shout out Israel.
Wow. Shots fired. He's playing in Israel right now. He's not in the NBA anymore.
There he is. Well, that's it for us tonight. Follow us on the social medias at the Box Out Boys. Slide in those DMs. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on YouTube and Spotify. I very much appreciate that. So until next time, Box Out.